Welcome back. It's Health Matters, and we're talking postnatal depression. You can join us in the discussion by calling the number on your screen or sending your tweets at CTV_YOMIO. Okay, before that break, you were talking about the prevalence of postnatal depression in our environment, and I asked, what are we doing to take care of this if it is that common?
Well, so the first point, or the first thing to do, is educational programs like this, so that members of the public are aware, that this is real and it's something that is common in our society and would help people to recognize it. Again, amongst our colleagues, a number of people are aware that it is common. So in the hospital where I work, we get calls from time to time, even before some mothers leave the hospital, for reviews of some others where they have concern. So that's about it. So education of the public, so that people are ready or able to recognize the telltale signs and ask for help if the case arises.
It's really instructive what you say about even the healthcare providers or healthcare workers, being able to identify this, because sometimes you find, okay, the woman just had a baby and she comes back to the hospital saying, I have a headache and this, and not so much attention is paid to, could it be that she has this other challenge with depression?
Well, so when it comes to that, it's every individual has to have a high index of suspicion, and like I said earlier, there will be those
maybe you could just
signs.
Just for the purpose of those who may be joining us just now, let's talk about those telltale signs again. You mentioned extreme sadness,
irritability. So the individual may be if we are friends, I know you, so when you are becoming more irritable than you should, I would know. But that won't be the only thing. I would then notice a few other things. So the individual may be extremely sad. Like I said, you would find that they've lost interest in things that they normally would find pleasurable. They would complain of reduced energy, fatigue, difficulty concentrating. For those who are in marital relationships, they may have experienced reduced libido. And then, because in extreme cases, they may have concerns about the baby themselves, and sometimes even to the point of neglecting the child. So, and that is why, another reason why it is very important to be able to pick it and address it.
Okay, I think we have David on the line. David, thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead with your
my
question.
name is not David, I'm Steve.
Okay, Steve, good to have you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Actually just tuned to channels, and just like what I was actually asking before, that I want to confirm if the postnatal depression has to do with only the pregnancy women or a general problem. And if it is a general problem, I think once in a while I just feel a kind of nervousness in me, whenever there's an issue. So, and of course, the only way I actually feel I could actually reduce the anxiety is probably when I take water or when I just, do a little bit of exercise.
Okay, Steve, I'm not sure Steve just had a baby, so, but he's just talking about himself. Could he, I was going to ask, can it also happen to the father of the baby,
Okay, well, it's possible in a few instances. Like I said, pregnancy, delivery is a major life event. So taking up the role of a father means that you assume new responsibilities. So yes, it can be a stressor, especially for somebody who is predisposed to having a depressive illness. So yes, and then sometimes you have a new baby has arrived. The father begins to see the baby as competing with him for the mother's affection. So Yes,
it can happen. But in Steve's case, he hasn't told us he just had a baby, but no, he has concerns too. You want to address that quickly?
Well, he asked the question, does postnatal depression affect only... I imagine that what he wants to know is if depression affects women.
Men too.
Yeah, so yes, it does. Even though it's commoner in females, it affects men as well. And if you think you have concerns, it would be better to speak with a healthcare provider who, if necessary, would refer you to the appropriate quarters.
Okay, now let's talk more about prevention, because I guess we should be able to do something for a pregnant woman or a woman who's just had a baby. As you say, we have this support system in our environment, but sometimes they can be absent. So let's talk more about prevention and then the need to get proper treatment for postnatal depression.
In terms of prevention, we've talked about what the risk factors are. I mean, these things put individuals at risk of becoming depressed in the puerperal or in the postnatal period. And it will be good as...
Sorry, just hold your thoughts. We have Toyin on the line. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, ma.
Thank you for joining us.
Please, I would like to ask the doctor. I just had a baby 2 months ago. Hello?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to ask a question. There's an issue that I have issue with my mobility, as in one of my legs. They said it's where baby rest during the pregnancy. And I've used all sorts of medication. I even gone to the hospital. I've taken injections. But doctor just said I should resolve in taking only calcium alone. And I want to ask, is there anything I can do to speed up my mobility?
Okay. Thank God you're not depressed after the delivery. She's having concerns with her mobility.
Yes,
I guess she'll have to go back to the hospital.
She would have to see a specialist. I mean, and she said she's been informed that it had to do with the birth process. I mean, she would have to see, and they would refer her to the appropriate. I imagine that she would need physiotherapy to help her recover as well.
Okay, so you were talking about prevention and things we can do, and of course treatment.
Yes, so I would like to say that we're all stakeholders in this, whether as a husband, as a sibling, as individuals, as religious leaders, and then as physicians. So the onus is on us, knowing what the risk factors are, to try and put measures in place. So for instance, as a husband, you know that there's a need to support your wife in the process after delivery. I mean, we cannot do enough of educating the public that these issues are real. And it is important that people seek appropriate health care when it is necessary. I mean, in summary, those are some of the things.
Because if a woman is feeling depressed, it could send a wrong signal, or people read the signal as, what's the problem? Is it only you that will have a child? You know, so that kind of support is not what she needs at that time.
No, it's not that kind of support. I mean, again, there's a lot of stigma associated with mental illnesses. So sometimes even when people think that, this may be the case, because of the stigma, what you find that people tend to deny it, and they may rather prefer to seek alternate forms of treatment. But what we know is that when you come to the hospital, it can be treated.
So even if you go first to a general practitioner, you can be referred.
You would be referred, yes, to the appropriate.
There are treatments, like in terms of medication.
So there are treatments in terms of medication, in terms of psychological techniques that would help, for instance, the mother cope better with their role as a mother, to help them address conflicts that they may have with regards the fact that they just had a baby.
Okay, so the important information is that if you feel any of this, you have concerns, go to the hospital and get treatment. Thank you so much for coming on, Dr. Fadigbe.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you all for watching. That's Health Matters for this week. I am Jomi Otaigbe. Stay healthy.